Forests, the lungs of the earth, the greatest asset to biodiversity, and a sanctuary of wildlife animals. This is Alaika Trambulo, Thealin Rodrigo, and Therese Alessandra Flores, your Earth Guards. And today, we welcome you to Kayamanan ng Kagubatan.
Philippines is one of the 18 megadiverse countries in the world. It is a home of more than 52,170 described species, about half of which are found nowhere else in the world, and a sanctuary of about 200 species of mammals. Unfortunately, over a period of time, the significant loss of our country's forest cover leads to the extinction of our wild fauna. The principal law governing forest management in our country is Presidential Decree 705 of 1975, otherwise known as the Revised Forestry Code of the Philippines, that contains basic forestry standards and practices, such as forest utilization and management, and criminal offenses and penalties. Although our forest lands are legally protected under Article 12, Section 2 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution that says, all lands of the public domain, waters, minerals, coal, petroleum, and other mineral oils, all sources of potential energy, fisheries, forests or timber, wildlife, flora and fauna, and other natural resources are owned by the state. With the exception of agricultural lands, all other natural resources shall not be alienated. Still, our forest and wildlife animals are facing a state of great threat. I'll send him a hardcover as a gift and hope. All right, enough of the numbers and Republic Acts. To get to know more about the laws on forestry, let us take you to Mariit Wildlife and Conservation Park.
Mariit Wildlife and Conservation Park is a 2,000-hectare park established in 1993 as the first conservation breeding and rescue center in Panay. It is managed by West Visayas State University, College of Agriculture and Forestry in Lambunao, Iloilo. About 2.5-hour ride by jeepney from the heart of Iloilo City. Upon your arrival, you will be greeted by their very accommodating staff with an entrance fee of 40 pesos. A breeze of fresh air and loud chirping birds will immediately welcome you. Mariit Wildlife Conservation Park is a captive breeding center for threatened endemic birds and animals of Panay Island. It is a home to endemic and endangered species such as Visayan spotted deer, Visayan taritic hornbill, Visayan leopard cat, and Philippine civet.
Our nature, adventure, and wildlife exploration became more interesting when we had a chance to talk and sit down with Sir Rodney.
I am Forester Rodney Nangilas Piñas, and I'm a faculty of the Forestry Department of the West Visayas State University, College of Agriculture and Forestry.
Although they receive enough support from the local government, this park also experiences challenges when it comes to the sustainability of the said park.
Well, we've encountered a lot of challenges now during the operations of this wildlife center. Number one, of course, is the limited funds. Of course, as what I've mentioned, we need funds for the whole operation of this facility. So we need funds for the food of the animals, We need funds for the salary of the people that are taking care of them, and also for the development and improvement of our current infrastructures in order to provide the animals the best condition. Also face challenges with lack of data in the center. So in order to really manage these animals well, we need to know everything about them, from the morphometric data, the data on their age, their origins, their families, no? So that we can prevent problems such as inbreeding later on. But we are now addressing that by conducting researches in order to gather those baseline data that we have. Of course, among the limitations that we also face is with the animals themselves. No, they have very unique breeding behaviors that limits reproduction, especially in the case of hornbills, where the birds have to select for a perfect mate before it can actually breed.
Despite several challenges, Mariit Wildlife and Conservation Park continues to strive, especially that it performs a great role towards our environment.
For me, it's a very significant thing that we have this facility here. Number one, it provides opportunities for people to be able to see the animals in the flesh. Because when you go to the wild, you can hardly find these animals. You can sometimes see them in pictures, in books, but not in person. So with that, we provide that opportunity to people. And once they see the animals with their own eyes, so I think it really gives more inspiration to people when they see how beautiful these animals are, how fragile they are. It will compel them not to support the conservation of these critically endangered and endemic species. And then, because right now in the wild, these animals face increasing pressures from the different threats in their habitat. We have the destruction of habitat because of deforestation, kaingin, illegal cutting, and of course hunting for illegal wildlife trade. At least here in the center, they are safe away from those dangers that they might potentially face when they are in the wild. But of course, our main goal in the future is we also want to help stabilize the situation in their natural habitat. We want people to accept them. We want people to coincide or to coexist with these wonderful creatures that we have. And later on, when we do that, we want to reintroduce these animals back into the wild where they really belong.
The laws on forestry and wildlife animals gave protection and security to these endemic animals, as well as on the issues on deforestation.
As of the moment, the major law protecting our wildlife in the Philippines is RA 9147. That's for Republic Act 9147, the Wildlife Protection Act. And in terms of the provisions of that law, so there are provisions that also need improvement. It needs to be specific, more specific when it comes to the provisions of the law. With the limited people we have working under this line of work, the implementation of the law is not really being done to the fullest extent. But right now, at least we've seen improvements in the attitude of the people, the way they perceive our wildlife.
I'll send them a hardcover as a gift and hope that you'll take it into her side.
So, as what they say, take care of nature and nature will take care of you.